What if everything you remember about your life was never real to begin with? Eve seemed to have the perfect life. Her husband was the chief financial officer of a major company, so she never had to worry about money. Their beautiful home was spacious and luxurious, and her children were well taken care of by a full-time nanny. But everything changed one day when Anna, their live-in nanny, made an unexpected request. She asked to use Eve's home address so her grandson could apply to a better school. Eve, who had a hard time saying no to others, smiled and agreed. But just as she nodded, the doorbell rang. Looking at the security monitor, Eve was shocked to see immigration officers at the door. She didn't even have time to react before they took Anna away. She was undocumented. That night, Eve woke up from a terrifying nightmare. In it, she saw a young girl wandering through ruins, someone who felt oddly familiar, as if she were seeing a part of her own past. The next day, Eve talked about Anna's situation with her friends. While they all expressed concern over undocumented workers, Eve still felt responsible. So she asked her husband to hire a lawyer to help Anna. Without Anna's help around the house, Eve had to handle things on her own for the first time. She went grocery shopping, but she couldn't park the car properly or figure out how to use a credit card. At the checkout, she was told both her cards were frozen. Embarrassed and frustrated, she stormed out of the store. As she reached the parking garage, a group of strangers in black surrounded her car. Confused and scared, Eve was taken to an immigration office. After being separated from her daughters, she was told she'd be held temporarily due to concerns over national security. At first, Eve thought everything would be fine if she just cooperated. But while her husband and children were released without issue, Eve was given a prison uniform. That's when she realized something was seriously wrong. Inside the detention center, Eve came face to face with Anna, who had also been brought there. But Anna's attitude had completely changed. Gone was the humble woman she knew. Instead, Anna spoke with a quiet strength, as if she knew exactly what was going on. She told Eve, "We're not so different. We come from the same place." Anna led the still confused Eve into a bathroom. Behind a hidden panel, they met a street musician named Otto, someone Eve had briefly encountered in the parking garage earlier. Otto guided them to an elderly woman named Adia, who seemed to hold all the answers. Adia told Eve a story so bizarre, it left her speechless. As she spoke, others gathered around, trying to explain. But before Eve could make sense of it all, the secret door was kicked open. Officers rushed in and captured Adia and the others. Eve was knocked unconscious. When she woke up, the same man who had interrogated her earlier was sitting nearby. He calmly explained what they believed was the truth. According to the agency, Eve wasn't just a regular person. They believed she, like Anna and Adia, was a traveler, someone who had come from another dimension. In that dimension, something had gone terribly wrong. To survive, these travelers found a way into this new, better world. At first, the agency thought these travelers had only just started arriving. But after investigating, they discovered it had been happening for over 30 years. And now, the genetic presence of these travelers was beginning to disrupt the stability of this world. To protect their world, the agency had decided to track down and remove all travelers hiding among the population. All the strange terminology, the tests, the interrogations, it was too much. Eve passed out again from the stress. This time, she woke up in a warm hospital room. A doctor told her she was free to go. Her husband came to take her home, and for a moment, everything seemed back to normal. But Eve couldn't shake the dreams. She kept seeing visions of another life, one filled with destruction and fear. She told her husband, but he brushed it off, urging her to stop overthinking. But none of it was real. In truth, Eve had never left the interrogation chamber. Everything, the hospital, the reunion, even the dreams, had been a simulation created by her captors. They used her memories to search for the truth. And now they were sure Eve had come to this world as a child. She was one of the very first travelers. And there was no way out. Just when Eve was about to completely break down, a staff member at the facility secretly offered to help her. In exchange for a bribe, he promised to smuggle her out. Desperate for freedom, Eve agreed and waited anxiously for her chance. Finally, disguised as a body being transported out, she was led to safety. The staffer even fulfilled her last request. He brought Anna along. The two women ran. A transport van had been arranged for their escape. But as they approached the vehicle, Anna grew suspicious of the man helping them. She refused to trust him. Despite Eve's desperate pleading, Anna left her behind and ran off alone. Heartbroken, Eve got into an old ice cream truck and drove herself back to her beloved home, full of hope that things could return to normal. But when she walked through the front door, she found her husband and two daughters waiting. Only, something was off. Her husband kept the children at a distance. He looked at Eve like she was a stranger and asked her to leave, for her own good. To Eve, this house was home. She begged to stay, but just then, immigration officers returned. Faced with the truth, her husband's cold rejection, and the memories flooding her mind, Eve finally broke down. But no one showed her any sympathy. In front of a crowd of curious neighbors watching from the street, Eve was forced into a car, tears streaming down her face. And just like that, she was gone again. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.